Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another spotlight interview with Global Thought Leaders, an initiative by RightSource Global. I am Zishan Pathan, Director at RightSource Global and a council member of Global Thought Leaders. Along with me, I have my colleague, friend, and a council member of Global Thought Leaders, Heval Mehta, Chief Growth Officer at RSG. Global Thought Leaders is a platform for industry stalwarts to cross pollinate with their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices to inspire each other and future leaders. Through spotlight interviews, we strive to bring the community of eminent personalities together from across the globe. We collate the multi decadal learnings acquired by proliferating brains in a nutshell. We bring the expertise of various functions, roles, and sectors together on one platform to inspire future leaders. We have one such industry stalwart on the spotlight with us today, Major Dr. Deepti Tewari. Deepti is a renowned individual in cutting edge technology domain. I would request Havel to introduce our today's eminent personality.
Well, thank you so much, Zishan, for giving me this opportunity to introduce Deepti. It's an honor. So, if I begin with, Deepti is a seasoned HR professional, ex-army officer, and author with over 20 years of experience in diversified senior management human resource role with exposure to US, Europe, and Indian multinationals. Currently, Deepti is serving as Global Director, Human Resources with Quark Solutions, headquarters at New York. She is responsible for leading Quark's overall human resource strategy, global talent acquisition, leadership development, diversity and inclusion, organizational design and cultural development, talent development, compensation and benefits, HR operations, and technology and employee relations. Prior to this, she headed human resource for Emirates Group, Dnata as National Head HR, and Personiv as Vice President Human Resource. She also served TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, for almost 6 years. She is a short service commissioned ex-army officer, served Indian Army for 5 years, Jamshedpur, and hospital management from NIHFW, New Delhi. Let me name some awards that Deepti is honored with. Samanya Seva Medal, Indian Army, Most Influential HR Technology Leaders by World HRD Congress, Women's Super Achiever Award for benchmarking talent and HR practices. She is an author of the book Unleash Your Hidden Strength, Fear to Success. She is committed to bringing a positive difference in people's lives. She is passionate, consistent, and charged up with zestful energy that sets her apart from the crowd. Her success mantra: God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. We welcome Deepti on Spotlight today.
Thank you so much, Keval. It's my pleasure and privilege to be part of this spotlight discussion with RSG Group. Thank you, both of you, for putting it all together. It's a wonderful time to be with both of you. Thank you so much for that once again.
So I must say, Deepti, that was quite an introduction, right? And there is an unheard story behind the complete journey, right? And the viewers would definitely like to know that. We really like to understand the key highlights of your journey from the beginning of your career till the current role of Global Human Resource Director at Quark.
Sure, Jishan. Let me start my journey from the very beginning. When you say how I started, and there's something which is already hidden in between the lines, right? So I was born and brought up in a middle class family, and my ethics and the moral values were something which I owe to my parents, and that were the building foundation for my entire journey. I cannot just leave it aside because these are the qualities which I got from my parents, inherited, and this is something which has helped me entire journey of my 2 decades, which has gone by. So when I talk about how it started, so when I was a kid, my father always wanted me to become a doctor. So clear mandate was given: you clear your entrance exams. So it was a medical entrance All India CBSE and CPMT exams which were being given to me. And my father's commands were like something which I have to follow. Keeping that in mind, I cleared my entrances and I got a seat in Meerut Medical College, LLRM, Lala Lajpat Rai Medical College. So I finished my MBBS, and after finishing my MBBS, I realized what is that I want to do in life? Do I want to continue as a doctor, or is something beyond it? By that time, I also got an advertisement in the newspaper where this basic thing was being asked, do you have a need? And that was something I thought, let me take this challenge. Let me try for my short service commission. I was not knowing the entire journey, how it will be, what is required to be done, and so on. But I took it as a thought process, let me try it out and explore this opportunity. Probably this will work for me. So I prepared myself for short service commission and I cleared. And here my journey for the from a civilian world to a military world started. I cleared this short service commission, and after that I joined Indian Army. So I joined as a captain and got commissioned as a major when I released from an Indian Army, and that is something I really feel proud about, serving the nation. And I would say the army is something which has built my confidence, built a discipline, as well as the kind of camaraderie we develop when we are in army. I think it's very, very difficult to have it in the corporate world. So these are the basic things which I got inspired and I imbibed in my character. When I moved out of army, it was 5 years, but a person who has devoted the services to the country, nation, the nation, where every countryman looked forward to be part of Indian Army. I got that opportunity. So I would say God is kind, was in my favor. My luck was that is the reason I managed to get this short service commission, and I moved out of Indian Army after completing 5 successful years. Once I moved out of army, I realized what next, how I'm going to move on. Do I want to continue in army, or I would like to move to a corporate world? The thought came, and then I finally decided, keeping my family's pressure also, because my husband was from BITS Pilani, so he's an engineer and I'm a doctor, right? So the thought was that, would you continue and sacrifice your personal front? So there was a big question mark. So that I just thought to myself, what exactly should I do? And transitioning myself from a military background to to a corporate environment is completely different. I was not even knowing how to work on a laptop. Even typing was something which I never knew, because in army the exposure was completely different the one we have in the corporate world. So here I thought, let me transition myself. Before transitioning, I need to have some kind of a degree with me, which will help me with my smooth movement from military background to a corporate environment. So here I went for my general management program from XLRI. And you won't imagine that in the entire batch, I was the only person who was a doctor. Just everyone was, most of them were engineers, and some graduates from BCom and all. So those were the people. And for me, being in a management college, that too in XLRI Jamshedpur, where the yardsticks were pretty high, the expectations were very high. Quite an intelligent profiles used to be there in XLRI. I was just having a question mark to myself, how will I sustain all that? Will I be able to clear my accounting exams? Will I be able to clear the operational exams, the corporate strategy, which was all the new words for me? A person who is in military has never been exposed for this kind of an environment. So a lot of hard work was being put in there. And finally, I completed my general management program. Now it was the time for campus hiring. When I say campus hiring, there was a big question mark again, because I was the only person who was the MBBS doctor and moving to MBA, right? There was not a single person like me. So I was quite apprehensive. There was a company who came and they selected a couple of people, and I was not selected. There was another company, that time Satyam was one of the key renowned player in the market. So they came and then they selected a couple of candidates, and I was again not selected. So I started thinking about myself. In fact, I used to cry also. What the hell I have done to myself? Being a doctor where getting a seat was so difficult. Am I wasting my career? Because see why uh, Jishan, why I'm talking all this, because there are people who feel like me. There are people who are in various colleges completing their graduation, and they expect that they will get a job, but they don't get. So why I'm sharing all these things, I think they can relate with me. It's not that if you're doing something, you will get anything and everything out of it. So there are failures also. I was having constant failures. There are two companies, in the third company, and the fourth company came, and I was not selected. It was a feeling that I am not the right fit. I have done a massive mistake in my career, right? So by that time, I thought maybe my dressing sense is not right. Maybe I have to make myself look more in a corporate. So I got my corporate suit stitched, and then I went for another interview. Finally, this interview cracked, and that was TCS. And then there was another interview with the Walk Hard Hospital. That was also cracked. And there was ICC Lombard. I cracked that also. So the laundry list was that I was having 7 different offers by end of the campus placement discussions which were over, which were going on. So so this is how the journey, uh, like you were in a deep problem. Now you moved out of it and you were a winner. So entire situation changed. But the thing is, consistency was the key. I was falling every time I was falling. The only thing is I was bouncing back, falling, bouncing back. Yes, this will work. This will work. Maybe I'll try this out. Maybe I'll try this out. So I kept myself moving because deep in my heart that I've done something and I have to take the ownership of it. I have decided about my career and this is what I have to take it forward. Right. So this helped me and I moved. And finally, I opted for TCS because I was coming from an Indian Army background, a military environment where you serve the nation. The entire thought process is about serving. Here, when you're joining TCS, it's all about Tatas, and Tatas were all over the places in Jamshedpur. So I was quite inspired with Tatas, and that was the reason I took this offer of TCS at Mumbai location. I was going to head their licenses healthcare business as a manager. So that was how I shifted from a military environment to a corporate world. So it was a game changer for me. Now, when I talk about TCS, I had a good inning with TCS, almost 6 years plus. Great learning experience, great company to work with, lot of value systems which are fundamentally so strong. I think those strong fundament value system which I gained from TCS helped me in my corporate journey a big way. I can't even talk about it because what I learned is all through TCS. And people in TCS, if they join TCS, they don't leave TCS. You will have CEOs who have been 30 to 35 years in TCS, 25 years. So it is a norm. So it's a company which care and cater for the employees, right? So TCS is something which was the building ground for me to get into the HR professional career. So moving from here, I got an opportunity to work with John Keels. That time it was John Keels, now it is Personiv. So I joined them as a vice president. With after 6 years in TCS, my immediately movement was the vice president to John Keels. Uh, because the reason why I was able to get this uh, designation was that my fundamentals were very strong when I was working TCS, and I grilled myself to the core to know anything and everything about human resource, be it performance management, be it talent acquisition, be it employee engagement, be it running initiatives, connecting with people, talent management. You talk about it, you name about it, and all my learning in human resource go to TCS. So I moved to Personiv for 3.5 years. I was with them as a vice president HR. And after that, I moved to a different industry, which was a hospitality industry, the Emirates Group, the airlines, which is a dream company for most of us, right? And my head office was based out in Dubai. And this was another opportunity I got. And I was thinking that, is that I am only fit for the IT company? Can I work in a different environment? So that was my testing ground again, right? And luckily, by God's grace and the kind of empowerment the organization gave me, I was able to fulfill my desire and also to lead people from the front. And this is something almost for 3 years I was with Dnata, and I was heading the national head HR role, handling almost 10 different locations. After competing almost 3 years plus with them, I joined Quark. This is another big leap in my career because when I joined Quark, it was the starting of the Corona crisis. 1st of April was my joining date with Quark. And the role was the global director. So my exposure was not limited to only India. Now I'm being exposed to handle teams in US and Europe. And that's a great exposure. The kind of teams, the kind of leadership I'm getting in Quark, I think that talks a lot about my growth, even the kind of empowerment they provide to us, being not exposed to different cultures. I was being exposed. And I think that's something helped me in my journey to reach to this level, and also touch lives of so many people and add value to their lives. I think this is much more important for me. Um, so this is how my journey started, from medical graduate moving to a military, and then from a military to a corporate world. I don't know what is going to be next, but I'm open. So end of the day, Jishan, what matters is your attitude. Doesn't matter where you're working, how you're working, what designation, what level. It is how you influence people, how you present yourself, how you value your own authenticity. I think that is something which makes a huge difference.
That is, I would say, is a roller coaster ride that you have been through, right? I must say that, I must acknowledge that. And Deepti, you have worked in various companies, not only companies, in various industries, I would say. I mean, you were in healthcare, you are into the services, you were into the airlines, now you are into technology, right? Uh, so one common link which is connecting all these companies is the core expertise in your HR function, right? So what are the key changes you brought in your function to make it more efficient and effective in all these companies that you have worked with?
Right. So, Jishan, when I talk about various industries I have worked with, there's something which is common in everything. So either you are working in a IT sector or in a healthcare sector, or you're working with the airline industry, or maybe the manufacturing. The most important things which I want to highlight here is, to start with, first and foremost, is the people management, right? You see what we do in all these organizations. We promote people for their operating excellence, right? If a person is good in some particular competency or skill, we say, okay, let's move this person and align the career of almost 10 to 15 people with this person. Somehow we miss out the bigger aspect, which is people management. And this is across the industry I'm talking about, in all the organization I have seen, right? So when you move a person because of their operating excellence without having a people management skill, there's a huge gap. You are giving career and the mentorship of 5 to 10 or 15 people with this person, the person who is not even equipped to handle such kind of a role. And here the culture plays a role, right? You have the best of the best strategy, but your culture will eat your strategy. Reason being, your people management is not strong. Junior level, even the middle management. And these are the key people who run the organization, not the leader, right? How you connect with people. Do the person feel like coming to office? If it is not there, it is not working. So one is that. Another important aspect which I want to talk about, the key challenges which these organizations face. Another is that responsive culture, employee capability building, growth from within. These are the very small things, but very close to the heart of every individual in the organization. So employee capability building, growth from within, and creating a responsive culture. These are a couple of things which are very important along with the people management skills. So when I talk about these things, these are the challenges. Now the question comes how to address it. And this is the challenge which most of the organization, most of the HR professionals must be facing at different level of their career. One thing is very clear: HR is not going to change the culture. It is the people who are going to change that culture. It is the leaders who are going to change that culture. It is the team members. It is the team leads who are going to influence their actions, the middle managers, the supervisors who are going to change the culture of the organization, right? So, my focus as an HR professional is definitely to empower these people. And how will I do that? So, there are different levels: junior profile, middle profile, and the senior most profile. So what we did in most of my organization, wherever I worked, I carved out couple of initiatives which help them. Like if you talk about the people at the junior most level, right? You have to groom them to the next level. If they grow, either they'll go technically or they will go on a people management. When they will grow on the technical front, definitely they are the individual contributors. But when they move to a people management, they are involving so many people. There's a collaboration which is getting involved. So for these kind of people who are the team members, we started a program which is Catalyst program, a simple program which talks about a 9 month training for these people and helping them in build their own competencies, right? And these are the people who help even HR professionals getting being a person who is having ears and eyes on the ground, because people will connect closely with their own colleagues rather than going to the HR. But HR invests time, energy on building their capabilities. So they are linked to HR, and on the other hand, they are linked to the employees. This is how the entire circuit works. So these 9 month programs help them to become better people managers when the time comes for them to move to the next level. This is one such initiative. There are multiple of them. Like if I talk about post protege program, aligning your middle managers with the leadership team and keeping in mind three basic fundamental rules. He should not be the supervisor for this person. He should be at the same location, at least a level up. These three things, if you keep in mind, and create a post protege program where you are involving the middle management and the senior management, the leadership team. This will help you because these are leadership team is like a friend, philosopher, and guide to these middle managers. And and middle managers also know if he can't go to his supervisor, but he has somebody who is a coach to him, who is not a supervisor, who is a level above, or maybe it's from the same location, so that he can go and talk to this person. Helping the person as a friend, philosopher, and a guide is something which we all require as humans, right? We are not always right, but we want to bounce our thoughts to someone who can take us to the next level. And this Coach British program is something which really, really helps grooming people from a middle management to a senior levels, right? Similarly, we had another initiative like Talent Vitality Index, where we used to see those people who have completed 18 months in the organization, understand, connect, call with them, and understand what is an inspiration of a person, where he wants to move on, right? So if you do all that, you are connecting with your people, and that's what people want. This is employee capability building. You focus on the employability of a person will not leave you, because somewhere every individual has an aspiration that his curve should keep rising. Even you as an individual, Jishan, you would be thinking, how can I move to the next level? I know you're a director, but definitely, why not? You might own three, four more companies, right? So somewhere your career growth and your competency growth both should rise. Then only you will get a mental satisfaction, right? These are a couple of initiatives. Apart from that, we started with early warning indicators, identifying the people who might attrite and trying to curb them before their attrition. Attrition doesn't happen once a person resigns. Attrition happens long back. The day the thought comes that I don't want to continue in this organization because of XYZ reason, that is the time the attrition is already started. It's just a paper formality which happens after a resignation happens. So understanding how this can be done will only happen if you have genuine interest in people. You should have that kind of a bonding that the person should come to you. I'm going for this offer, right? Should I go? If a person is so much open to the manager, that's the real connect you are having with your people. And that's the culture you want to create. So if you invest in people capability, they will be the people who will work with you for long run. And create responsive culture. When I say create responsive culture, very simple, very, very simple. You at least as a leader, you have to show what are you doing. People are watching you. You are the role model, right? And integrity is not in front of everyone. Integrity is if I'm alone in my room, how I'm behaving. Am I trying to do something which I am not talking, but I'm doing something, right? So the responsive culture is being set from the top. And leadership should have the guts to say, no, this is wrong. Talk about it. This is the way you will go. I think I tried putting all these things into perspective, which helped me in creating two important aspects of HR. One is the employee satisfaction index, another is the retention rate. If these two parameters are improving, you are doing right to the job, and this helps. I hope to some extent this answers your question.
I must acknowledge that these are amazing initiatives that you have taken, Deepti. And you have spoken about culture and a statement picking up from your conversation itself. which is really interesting. That culture, if it is not right, it would eat up your strategy for breakfast, right? So that is something which I can pick up from the conversation. And this culture is really, really very essential when we are talking about the millennial workforce. So the next question that I'm going to ask you is regarding that only, right? So Deepti, dealing with the millennial workforce has become a different ball game as the younger generation prefers work-life balance with flexible schedules and telecommuting. So, what are the principles you suggest for fluid task management with gig economy?
Right. So, Rishan, this is a new norm which is going to establish, and it has already started establishing. And when we talk about IT, it is almost 40 million people we are talking about, right? ITs companies, right? It's a huge number. And there was a survey which was conducted by Deloitte on this gig economy, and the 94% of millennials, right, dead generations, they were of the opinion that if given an option, they will opt for gig economy. So it is going to establish, and by 2030, it's a huge percentage which is going to move to a gig economy. And that's a survey which is coming from Gallup also. So keeping all that in mind, I think we need to understand this generation, which for which first and foremost, we should stop assumptions, right? The moment we see a millennial, we'll say that, oh, this person is not keen. There are a couple of mindset which we have in our mind. We start getting into judgmental. Even if you look at your kids, you will have a different opinion. Oh, he will do this or not do this. You will always start presuming that. And that happens because we as human beings are highly judgmental in our thought process. When we talk about this millennials, they are different. They are born with internet, they are born with Wi-Fi, they are born with mobile. So their DNA is different from the DNA of Y and X generations, right? So we need to understand that they have a different exposure altogether. So when we talk about it workplace, yes, there are a couple of things what we have to do as an organization so that we involve them. When we say about diversity and inclusion, it should be part of it. Diversity is like you are having different kind of people with different caste, color, creed, whatever it is. So if you talk about millennials, these are people who look for instant gratification, who can go extra mile. They want to work in a collaborative environment. So understand the dynamics, the characteristics of these individuals, right? Highly, if you talk about millennials, these are the people, I would say these are highly educated people in the entire history, right? You must have never got this kind of educated people in the history, which we are getting now. We have to leverage it. And how to leverage it is first of all having an open conversation, understanding, because in my organization, there's so many people, young, talented people just passed out with so much of energy, so much of enthusiasm. You just need to give a platform to them, open platform. So the way you deal with them is slightly different in terms of giving them an open platform, talk to them, understand. They look for feedback, give them feedback. They want to give feedback also. Be open to get the feedback also, right? As a leader, are you really open? Or is it a question mark? Or you just want to shut the person down? So here the culture comes as an organization, very important, create a collaborative environment for them, create a flexible working environment because they are focused on the result. But what they want, flexibility, what they want, let them have their work-life balance. Let them have remote working. It doesn't matter. In my team, I never ask my person when are you coming to office. It's just an assignment given to you. You talk to me. I'm there to help you out as a coach, right? I'm not going to draft a defined path for you. You can do it, right? Let him explore. Let him put his head into it, and he will do wonder. He will definitely do better than me. Give him the ground. Create that kind of a trust factor that I believe in you. That's it. And Jishan, believe me, people come back to you and say that, Iti, I want to work with you. It's not that I'm doing anything great. I'm just trying to match the frequency of that person by giving him ample opportunity, open ground, empowering him to take a call. If you talk about this generation, they love to do corporate social responsibility, CSR initiative. Maximum people from CSR will be from this generation because they want to give to the society. They have so much of caliber, potential. Channelizing it in the right direction is something what is a need of an hour. And if you just focus on these basic aspects, I'm just talking about the basic because somehow We talk about big things, but somehow the basics are lost. I'm only focusing on the basics, which will definitely make a huge impact in retaining and also giving these the trust factor for these millennials, and they will do wonders. Just the time will tell you. So I am very much for the millennials because I get really inspired working with
Wonderful insights, Deepti, there. Deepti, you have been a part of the transformational strategies, right, of various organizations. So, and HR function in itself is undergoing a rapid transformation, right? So, how do you see it evolving in the near future, keeping in mind the latest development in artificial intelligence and machine learning on natural language processing?
Right. So recent AI and machine learning is something which is already set in, right? So it's not the future now. It's already as part of the present and running successfully in so many organizations. Um, if you look at artificial intelligence, what is it? It's just an intelligence which is a machine computer engineering branch in which a machine is being designed to imitate human function, human intelligence, right? So end of the day, it has been designed by the human being, right? And this is taking a big leap across the industries, right? If you look at from an HR perspective, artificial intelligence is involved everywhere, starting from screening of the profiles when it comes to selecting the candidate, right? Uh, the kind of efficiency we get up from these chats and the bots who are managing all this. So it's quite easy for us to get the insights within a quick span of time. And the efficiency and effectiveness of these tools are amazing. R- Once this has been done, definitely when we talk about scheduling interviews in HR, again, this has been taken over. Most of the organization they are using these systems, so which is much more easier for them. And then the final discussion and the interviews happens. Finally, the person is onboarded. When it comes to onboarding, the chats are there to address the questions which an employee is having once the person joins the organization. What are the policies? What are the practices? What are the leaves I can take? What are the medical insurance? Everything is being customized and it can be given directly to an employee. So a lot of work in terms of the recruitment, in terms of onboarding, is being taken care by the AI. Moving from here, if I talk about the learning and development, augmented learning, they do a lot of analysis which comes out through these machine learnings where we have the insight how the data is reflecting. And as we as HR professionals just need to understand the predictions which are coming up from this data point and then customize it and do our strategic planning how we want to run it in the organization, right? So this is, I would say, the entire transformation is going to be an enabler for us. It is adding so much of value, so much of data insight, so much of real time information, and so fast. So now how the transformation is going to happen, we need to upskill ourselves, right? Nobody can take that human angle a person gets when there's a human connect, right? Machines can't do it. Here comes the role of an HR. From these monotonous work, if these are being given to machine learning and artificial intelligence, definitely this will add value for more time for the HR professional to connect with the employees, create that kind of a bonding. And if you look at the roles which are coming now, chief happiness officer, imagine, chief psychological officer, data scientist, HR data scientist. So imagine these are the kind performance coach. So the linkage where HR is going to have with the employees is more towards emotional connect, understanding things beyond artificial intelligence. Here the HR will play a key role. It's not the human resource function. It's I'm talking from an HR to an HR, human to an HR, human to a human, people manager to a person to an employee. So any relationship where we have a human angle to it, I'm talking from that perspective. So those things are happening and across the industry, even all the functions are getting impacted. Those customer sales jobs which are being done now are being taken over by the chatbots and all, right? So this is happening and this is going to be a game changer, right? It's giving so much of creative time for you to think, which is much more in depth and relate with people, care for them. And this is the time where people need. You know how the situation is right now with Corona crisis. People want somebody to hear them. People want somebody to connect with them. Organization to connect with them. Machines can't do that, right? Here's something employee well-being. It's something you guys can do as an HR professionals, right? Otherwise, how will this happen? Nobody can do it. Machines can't do it. But yes, they are big time enablers and they are going to add a lot of value to your own existence. So embrace them. And then that will really help you long run.
Yeah, Deepti. Though technology is playing a very vital role in the transformation of HR function, there are other aspects as well, right? So, what are the key people strategies which are helping organizations to promote diversity and inclusion?
Yeah, I think this is something which is coming as a very important topic for most of the organization, diversity and inclusion. And we working in a global space where we have different kind of people. Organizations focus on diversity and inclusion is going to be the game changer. When I say diversity and inclusion, it includes a whole lot of things around, right? So very important. Uh, you need to understand what is diversity, right? So diversity is inclusion of different kind, maybe caste, color, creed, racism, ethnicity, religion. So involving these people and creating a culture which is inclusive of all that is something what we want to look forward. For that, a couple of things are important. First and foremost, one is that you need to understand what is it, and those learning and development should happen on those because people don't understand what is diversity and inclusion, right? So that kind of understanding has to be created in the organization. That kind of a training ground, that kind of an open discussion should happen, which will help people to understand what is it. It's just not a nomenclature. It's something more to it. How deep it is. It's just a tip of the iceberg, the name. But if you go deep, it is so intensive, right? As leaders of the organization, very important. You should show it in your action. When I say show it in your action, whatever you are doing, that should reflect. People should know that my leader is concerned about the diversity. He is inclined towards diversity. He is inclined to make sure that the organization is having a holistic view. So for that, one is the training of the people to understand what is it and how it is, and also to figure out what are my filters. When I connect with somebody, do I create a filter? This is of this caste, this is of this creed, this is of this religion, this is ethnicity. I have to come out of their filter, of my filter. For that, if somebody is telling me these are the filters you are creating, will help me to do it. Otherwise, I'm living in my own perception. I'm coming with my own experiences. I'm meeting people, but I'm creating my own filters. So unless until that kind of an open discussion and training happens to the people, they will not understand are they involving with diversity and inclusion or they are not taking that as a part of their culture. So this is important. Leaders need to play a role where they are talking about it. They are reflecting in their actions, right? So when I say all that, it's very important to have a code of conduct for our employees, irrespective what diversity is coming to the organization. It should be unbiased. There should be a committee to manage it. And if something is going out of the place, leaders should be the first person to talk about it. This is not acceptable in my organization, right? Create a kind of environment where people are doing corporate social responsibility and connecting and going beyond. Because if you look at the millennials, the one which we were just talking about, they love to do those CSR initiatives where they want to go and connect with those people and understand the larger society. So create that kind of empowerment in a ground for your employees where they connect with those people, probably the differentially able people, involve them, right? Celebrate some days like International Women's Day, International Males Day, International Anti-Racism Day, to name few, International Disability Day. So those are the things you need to do in your organization so that even if people are not aware, they should talk about it, see about it, and understand what exactly the culture the organization is trying to build on. So couple of initiatives, but I think this is a long way to go, and we have to really work hard on this diversity and inclusion and making it a norm in our culture.
I must acknowledge that these are wonderful and insightful thoughts, Deepti, there. Um, Coming to a very interesting question, right, Deepti? The aspiring future thought leaders would like to learn from the mistakes, right? So, can you share some mistakes that future thought leaders must avoid which can help them align their goals better?
So yeah, addition is very important for thought leaders, how they want to learn from the mistakes when you're talking about it. So first and foremost, I would say that these leaders should first of all have that kind of a connect and the bonding with the people. Even if they are going to the highest position, that connect and bond should not go away, because you cannot have a thoughts without having the right insights on the ground. This is one point which I would like to highlight here. Second thing is that leaders should encourage people development, right? The entire focus should be how I am helping my person to move on a people management front, people capability building. This will create a kind of a bonding with them, with their people. Third thing is that they need to make sure that they are not criticizing the people in public. I have seen leaders, despite reaching to the highest level, they are not able to differentiate how to reprimand a person in public or in isolation. They just start talking loudly in front of so many other people, because a person is not feeling demotivated because the manager is saying, he is feeling demotivated because 10 more people are hearing that, right? If you scold your child in front of 10 more uh, students or 10 more classmates, he will feel more bad. If you scold him in isolation and tell him these are the reasons you have done wrong, he will be more aligned to it. He will understand. He will change himself. But the moment you do it in public, it's like a pathetic situation, and leaders do that. So, as leader, please make sure that you do reprimand in isolation, not in public. And when it comes to praising people, please do it publicly. You don't have to just share a simple mail to an employee saying that you have done a good job. So how will he get recognized? And when we talk about millennials, they want instant recognition. So as leader, the more you motivate people is something which will make a huge difference, right? You need to be a role model. If I'm saying something, I should act on it. I cannot say something and do something different. Here people see, right? And they're watching you. Are you a role model, or are you just trying to just give a lecture there and move on? So what you say, what you do should be the same. There should not be a difference. So these are things, very small things, but yes, they make a huge difference in making sure that you as a leader is shining.
So there's a lot of takeaway for me as well from this conversation, I must say, Deepti, a lot to learn. We have been building this global thought leaders community for cross pollination of knowledge. What are your thoughts about this initiative, Deepti?
See, I think that's a need of an hour. We all are living in a virtual world nowadays, right? And somehow the connect is missing out. So those kind of connects are very important. First of all, they give you a different perspective. You are just focusing on one perspective, but there are multiple other ways of doing things. So of your mind, openness of your mind is very important. That will only come when you cross pollinate, when you connect with people, talk to people, understand their experiences, and see what are the best thing I can also have it. So I would say steal shamelessly. Something good about anyone. Jishan is giving me some good advice. Why not? Steal shamelessly. Why not? So you are going to benefit the organization, even your employees to a larger extent. So these are the initiatives which will be the game changer in long run, because collaboration is the key.
Well, I would really like to say thank you so much, Deepti, for this fabulous insights. Uh, like we say that in Spotlight, we learn many new things, we connect with new people. Rightly, few spotlights on conversation that we had today with Deepti. Deepti initiated her conversation, and we got to know something, an attitude that is of never giving up, no matter whatever the situation is. That's the first thing. Pick of the day today. Value the people around you by having the right attitude. That is very important for the growth of anyone's career or the organization as well, right? Rightly, Deepti mentioned that you have to be there even if you're growing and moving up to the next level. Be with your people, because I can sense that feeling that success or career growth will only be lightened in the book because of your team. So be with your people all the time. Last thing, which is very, very important, is feedback should be in person, but recognition should be in public. So these are some important takes, and I'm sure team who's listening to this today and implementing few of it will definitely see a change in their career graph. So thank you so much, Dipti, for this amazing session today and giving us your valuable time. We really thank you, Dipti.
Thank you so much, Haven and Jishan. I really enjoyed conversing with both of you. My pleasure, guys.
It was a privilege, Deepti, to have you. Thank you.